a playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBP. I'm so glad you're here, and I don't know about you, wherever you are in the world, but I've been enjoying the sun so much. I just cannot get enough of it. Obs in my SPF with my with my wide brim hat and sunglasses and all of that and the shade. But like, I've been loving this entry into summer. I've also been loving my VPR rewatch, and I've started to make friendship bracelets for the Taylor Swift concert that I'm going to in July. And it has been really fun and life-giving. It's so fun having like a creative little project. I also want to give a shout out to my friends. I've had the most amazing spring with them. Everyone knows, but I went to New York with the podcast collective. Then I went to Mexico with my online survivor crew. And then I did my Banff trip with my Aussie friends. And now I've been reconnecting with my Victoria friends, and it feels so good. It's definitely, I feel like the year of friends for me, which is just really, really, really nice. Okay, what's happening on the Patreon? I am talking with Troy McHeady this week about the Britney Spears and Kevin Federline relationship. Last week, I did a reality TV news roundup, Solo Dolo, where I talked all about the Summer House finale, the VPR reunion part 1, Selling Sunset season 6, and then the Kardashians season 3 episode 1. And it was super, super fun. I talked for over an hour, which is a long time for me. I know maybe not a long time for people like Ryan Bailey, but I chatted about all of those, and I'm excited to talk to Troy this week. And if you want to hear those episodes, you can join Patreon at patreon.com/RTBP podcast. There is a $5 tier where you get access to all the episodes and our Discord channel and a shout out on this podcast. And then a $10 tier where we meet monthly, which has been proven difficult as a group of, I feel like, very busy girly pops. But I don't know, we're trying our hardest out here. But you get some mail from me and a monthly meetup. This week, I want to shout out Sakina. Honestly, truly the light of my life. I love exchanging voice memos with you. One time we were talking about coffee crisps. It must have come up on the podcast, and I just mailed her some coffee crisps. And I don't know. I just feel like I have such a good time chatting with you. You're so insightful and smart and witty, and I just love hearing what you have to say about all of this crazy stuff that we cover on the show. And next is Andrea. I really appreciate you supporting the show via Patreon for many, many months now. It means the world to me. And I know I say this every episode, but it really makes this podcasting journey so much better when I get to connect with patrons and have some financial support for the work that I put into this show. I really, really appreciate it. So Andrea, Sakina, mwah, I'm thinking about you both today. Okay, friends, it's time to get to today's episode with Lauren Skay. So much fun at the Zen Blonde. You probably know her as, and we had so much fun chatting before, during, and after this episode. So let's get right to it. Here's my conversation with Lauren. I'm back with a very special guest. Lauren Skay, aka at the Zen Blonde, is here. Lauren, how are you?
Hello, Torry. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. It's so good to see your beautiful face here. And the last time we saw each other, we were in New York, so it's just a happy reunion for me.
I know, it's so nice. So we met I put this in the outline, but we really met on the most feral night of my life. I was telling Lauren before, it's like I was a different person that night than I normally am, but it was so much fun.
It just brought out of all of us. You were the queen of shots. We did so many shots together, and why wouldn't we? Some guy literally paid for everything. Perignon at the table. We were witnessing things that are unspeakable. At one point, I was holding a cucumber while dominatrix everyone had to do a blowjob on it.
I literally didn't even remember.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I mean, they loved you. They kept on going back to you and trying to like play to their show. Like for whatever reason, they were on you. Oh my gosh, what a crazy night, and what a crazy way for us to meet. I mean,
I know.
Story to people, I'm like, I feel like it doesn't even sound real.
No, it doesn't sound real. And I go over the whole night on my Patreon.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That needs to be behind a paywall because it was very raw. But what I will say is the craziest thing too is, I don't know if you noticed this, after the Met Gala after party was at the box where we went, and Kylie got rejected, but guess who got in?
Yes. Us, like VIP line.
Yeah. I'm like, this shit hasn't happened since I was 21. Some guy's paying for all the drinks and we're at the best table in the house. Like,
literally, Gabby's getting in without an
all
ID.
8 of us.
Like, just like, yeah, it was fucking wild. It was a good night. I was queen of shots because up until the moment we stepped in the door, I basically was sober. And I was like, if I'm going to like manage here, I need to down like 6 tequila shots.
No, I feel you. You could not, you needed to be drunk to be in that. I needed to be drunk to be in that setting. I had to watch myself because I was like, this is so interesting that I know I'm going to stay until it closes, which in New York can be 5 in the morning. So yes. I was like, I'm going to take half shots or else I'm going to be on stage. So I just need.
And I was.
You killed it. You rocked it that night though. We had such a good time. My God. And now we're like, it was almost like, I feel like we all became like blood sisters that night. Yeah. Had our hands and like became like family, you know? Literally. We're forever bonded by the box.
Literally, I'm still like, I still have a cough from the box. I swear to God, like I got a cold and it has lingered. It has now been a month and 3 days. I think honestly, a month and 4 days.
I'm surprised I didn't come back with like something from that place. I mean, I loved it. I was like, you know, ooh, like man. At one point, one of the parts of the show involved fake blood. And
yes,
and like we were in the freaking splash zone because
we were
seat. And you know, you think, okay, people pay a lot of money to be in here. They're probably wearing nice clothes. They're not going to splatter you. No, there were champagne showers. Me and my cousin got blood on the fake blood on our outfits, and thank God, my cousin was wearing a white shirt. I was wearing this like new silk skirt that I just gotten, and thank God the dry cleaner saved us. The box didn't take clothing forever, but had it, I still would have been okay because it was just such a good night.
It was so good. Yeah, I sent my friend voice notes about that, and I said about the fake blood. Then I moved on to something else because there was a million other things to say, and he was like, I think you skipped over the blood part like really quick. Like, can we just circle back to that? So,
and I actually hated that part because I am like very squeamish around blood, and then the fake blood getting on me, I was like, okay guys, let's take it back a little bit. Let's go back to the sexy stuff. The blood is not sexy.
Yes. Literally, I was in the same boat. So we met through mutual friends, Emily Rose from It's Become a Whole Thing. And you two met through TikTok. How did you start like TikTok commentating?
So I love Emily, first of all. Shout out to It's Become a Whole Thing. She is just like my favorite. All the Canadians are my favorite though. My Canadian brethren. So in terms of TikTok, I started off during the pandemic. I was super isolated. I have a job with a company overseas, so none of my colleagues even like I was always remote. And it wasn't necessarily meant to be that way. I was supposed to go live in Japan for a while. I was supposed to go do a big marketing push for the Tokyo Olympics and live out there for 3 months. And so it was going to be more connected and you know, I have one colleague stateside that moved to Hawaii. So I was more isolated than ever. And I am someone who, like, when I get a respiratory issue, that is like my kryptonite. Like it's not good for me because I have asthma. So I was terrified of getting COVID. And so I
Of
became super,
course.
super isolated. And it'd be like, you're only as good as your friend's behavior. So it was like, if somebody went out to a party with a bunch of people, I was like, I can't see you even for a walk. So anyway,
Yeah.
was super isolated, definitely going through like the blues of the pandemic, just like everyone else. And thankfully, my losses were much smaller than a lot of other people's during that time. But I was at home just like pop culture and all the things that I've always liked became a way for me to dissociate and just a diversion from the reality of life because it was depressing. And,
Yes.
I was always someone, I was very outgoing. I'm friends with all my former coworkers. When I would go into an office in the morning, I'd always be the person being like, did you hear about this or that? This thing's going on in the news or this thing going on. And I always love those conversations in the morning. And so I started just doing that into my phone. And, I ended up kind of putting on my investigator hat and, found a book that Armie Hammer's aunt had written called Surviving My Birthright. And I read it and I turned it into a 13-part viral TikTok series that was then turned into a documentary called House of Hammer, which I was featured in on Discovery Plus. So I had a few moments like that. Like even at one point, somebody reached out to me that my family knew because their house had been destroyed, by the Property Brothers when they got their
Oh my God. I
renovated.
hate that.
Their house, I mean, it's just not, it's very shoddy work. So I did a whole
Yeah.
series on that. And so I
Yes.
had those
Yes.
moments and then people reaching out and telling me things. And then it just kind of became a self-sustaining machine. So really, yeah, it was just by virtue of the pandemic and scrolling like we all were.
That's wild. So you had an interest in pop culture, but you really doubled down during the pandemic.
Absolutely. I think if I
Yeah.
had to go into an office and face colleagues, I would have been embarrassed about putting out TikToks that they could potentially see. And it's especially when you're starting out with something and it's not going viral, you don't know if people value your opinion or think that what you're saying sounds good or if they're just going to make fun of you or whatever. And I've seen these TikToks about, oh, you have to climb Cringe Mountain before you mess
Yeah.
with anything, right? And so it's like, it's easy to climb Cringe Mountain when you're literally your only audience is your two little kitty cats. So,
Yeah.
it was very easy for me to do. But prior to that, I was a little bit more reserved online, even though I had opinions and stuff like that. It's just as an extrovert, the pandemic just I was losing my mind and I was like, I gotta tell someone. All right, I'm gonna tell TikTok.
I love that. But do you is it more of a back and forth for you, with people responding, or is it mainly like your output?
Well, currently I mean I've been going through, to be honest with you, a little slump with social media, especially TikTok,
Mm,
and I haven't been posting
mm-hmm.
as much. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's by virtue of I went to Japan for work for a while. I'm having to learn Japanese for work. And I just have like a lot going on, so I haven't had the energy. I'm also starting a podcast with my best friend called The Girl, the Gay, and the Slay. And so we've been working on that. We're releasing that for Pride
Love
Month
that.
in June, and
Nice.
so that's going to be great. But in addition, like the space is incredibly oversaturated, especially on TikTok, and I don't like a lot of what I see because I see people that will post rumors that are completely unfounded for clickbait. And it disgusts me that even though I know I don't do that, I'm in the same arena with these people and I have all
Mm-hmm.
these other interests. So I'm having like almost a weird moment where I'm actually meeting with my best friend on Sunday to put together a content calendar to get back up and running because I mean in content creation people don't talk about it but you do hit these ruts where you're like I'm
Absolutely.
disgusted by this, I don't like this, I want to be invisible, like you go through those moments and then you just have to push through them. um so I've been doing a lot more in-person gatherings and just chatting with people and having those one-on-one conversations that have been really fun. But yeah, like it happens. It just happens in content creation, and I've talked to a
Totally.
lot of content creators about it. That's why I like having friends in the space because you're like, is this normal? And it's like, yeah, no, it is.
For sure. No, I get that. And especially because all of your TikTok series and stuff are so well researched. I feel like that's so quick that you can burn out just because it's actually so much work
Hmm.
to get all your facts straight. That's something I definitely could not keep up at it would be hard to find a sustainable pace for sure.
100%. And it is figuring out that output figuring out what you want to put out there. I mean, obviously we have Sandoval going on right now, and people post that Raquel is pregnant. It's like, no, she isn't. You know, she isn't. And why are you posting that? And yeah, you're gonna get all these views, but I think some people want things done fast and cheap, and I'm like a long game girly, and I'm like, if it, you know, I'd rather take time to have good intentional content than just put something out there just to put it out there. Because integrity is so important, especially in this space. And even with getting all the facts right, it's like I'm so ADHD, I could go on a million different tangents. And, you know, even for myself, I really have to go into Word. I have to watch things a few times and really write everything down and make sure I'm getting everyone's name right. So it's a process for sure, 100%, if you want to do it with integrity, you know?
Totally. I get that though. Like I remember when Dumas first came out, I was like, oh, this is like fun. This is cool. And then like when you start seeing that, again, she is literally just posting anything. None of it's like verified with any like any shred of like investigation or anything like that. Then you're like, I'm kind of embarrassed to be kind of lumped into like celebrity gossip and stuff like that as well. Like I totally get that. It kind of gives a bad name to the, like, instead of like analyzing stuff and like, I don't know, poking fun at some of the stuff, it's just, I don't know.
No, I feel you. And it's also one of those things where it's like, okay, well, there's these blind items, but where are they coming from? Who sent it? Right. What's their intention? What's their ulterior motive? Do they want to spread a rumor about someone that's salacious, and maybe they have an account that when they send it in makes them look more credible, but they have an ulterior motive, and they know how this machine works, and they know they can.
Right.
And the thing is, all it takes is for one person to say something, and like, you know, a certain number of people are not going to go a layer deeper or look back and see if it was actually true.
Of course.
And then it creates an impression of someone. So,
oh yeah.
And I've noticed, like, really with TikTok, especially, like, there's been a rise in content creators that have zero integrity that post in such a way that is just like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, remove this from my feed. Like, I don't want to see it, because it's just like proudly salacious. It's not even, you know, listen, if there's something salacious to say and it's true, it's great. It's
of course.
About, especially if somebody was wronged, like in the case of, you know, Ariana Madix and Tom. Like, you know, I'm Team Ariana all the way, and that's proven, and everyone's spoken out.
Yeah.
But, you know, the little rumor mill kind of does kind of irk me a little bit.
Totally. Like it can tip into like inappropriate / harmful versus like, you know, fun and, you know, getting to flex your values and your morals and stuff like that. So it can.
And then, you know, like there are the whispers about things like Jeffrey Epstein that turn out to be true, and you're like,
100%.
Where do we stand with all this? Because it's like, yeah, sometimes there's a truth out there that somebody's going up against someone powerful, and maybe they have to use these machines to start getting the word out there. And, you know, I do believe a lot of times when there's smoke, there's fire. But, you know, I think just anyone can just go say anything on the internet now. And that's a good
Totally. That's a good point. It's like you have to have a discerning eye, and I think it's like a muscle, or like it's a skill you have to learn, because I have definitely been duped before.
Me too.
Of like seeing something and then being like, oh, this is true, and then repeating it and then finding out it wasn't. But you're also totally right. Like equity seeking groups use gossip and, you know, chit chat and stuff like that as like a form of justice and getting the word out, protection, safety, all of these things, when these like systems aren't allowing them for that.
And I totally know, I've been duped before too. And there is a learning curve that you go through in real time as you're building an audience.
Yes.
And that's a hard place to be in, because especially when you have good intentions and you never want to put anything bad out there. I think I have a lot more apprehension than I did in the beginning, just because I've seen kind of how something can look really, really accurate or true. And then it's like, you know, it's not.
I know.
The rumor mill is crazy.
Yeah. Let's get into it, because we've got a lot to chat about. Vanderpump Rules. You've been a VPR fan since the jump.
No. Not at all. So I was in college when it started. Well, I had like I
you
had
didn't
a
have
life.
time.
I had a life,
Yeah,
girl. I was
yeah.
living. I was out every night. I wasn't watching any TV. Like me and my
Yeah.
like hungoverly like binge watch things with like our windows covered because we were so violently hungover that we didn't want to. We would
Yes.
sit there and watch like on Sundays, like just binge watch things. But I wasn't
Yes.
a fan from the jump. And so by virtue of living in LA, I met a bunch of them. I have a bunch of friends that are friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the Bravo podcasts. I've listened to Danny Pellegrino for years. So I
Yes,
would
me
know the
too.
catchphrases like Brittany's like rotten hell. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
live for
Yeah.
the catchphrases. And so when I said, you know what, this season I'm going to start watching Vanderpump Rules because I really liked some of the people that I met from
Little
the
did you
cast,
know.
and I was like, oh, like like I should watch this show. Like I have a lot of friends that are really into it, so I picked a crazy season to start. I had the
Mm-hmm.
context from the podcast to a degree where I like there's a lot of things I don't know, but there's things that I do know, and I'm now
Mm-hmm.
currently on the season 1 reunion.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
was at a birthday
So
party in a picture with Brock, and I genuinely didn't even know he was a person on the show. Like that's how
okay.
like I was just like I knew who the main characters were, but like
Yeah.
ancillary like boyfriends or whatever, I like genuinely was none the wiser.
Totally. If you're in the pop culture space at all, there's no way that you could get around like knowing who Sheena Shea, Stassi Schroeder
Totally.
is, Jax Taylor. Like you just know. But it's very similar to me. I actually started watching right after Sandoval broke. I'm in season 4. But you're right though. There's that period when I was in college that like I wasn't keeping up
No,
regularly with any
no. Like
TV.
even Housewives, I got really into Housewives after college when I moved to New York City because it was really fun for me to watch New York and see where I was living. But see the
Yeah,
perspective of people that
but
had a shit ton of money, which I was like, I wished I did.
yeah, totally, totally. But we weren't tuning into VPR. But you recently, just this week, were at Raising Cane's, which Ariana did a like, I guess like a collab or like kind of like a sponsorship where she was working the drive-through. No one could look better in like a fucking polo and a hat.
She
I was
looks
like,
so good. I know. I was
she
like,
looked
do I
so
want Raising Cane's
cute.
merch?
I know. I was like, this is unfair because if I put that on, I actually look like I work
I
there.
would
No
literally look like
shade,
Seth
but
Rogen. Like I can't.
yeah, like seriously, Adam Sandler vibes. Like it's just not a good look, but she looked so cute. How was that experience? Like I feel like the people that are going to Raising Cane's to celebrate Ariana are the diehard VPR
Yes.
fans.
So we had to get there super early. We got there at 8:30 a.m., which like it was like probably like 15 minutes from my apartment, but we went to an actual Raising Cane's location. Get there at 8:30 a.m. Paparazzi are outside. Fans are lined up around the
I would
block.
be I would be
Oh my
posing
God,
like
it was crazy. And then we got invited and we were paid to like post for them. We were partnering with them,
yeah.
a bunch of kind of like Bravo and like pop culture accounts and food accounts.
Mhm.
So we go inside, and so Ariana shows up. She walks in, she signed some autographs, and she was doing some press. So she was explaining how she and her friend Logan, for years have loved Raising Cane's, and I think that when they were like road tripping or something, they would go and get it, and that was one of their favorite fast food chains. And to be honest with you, the food slapped. Like we'll be back. First time
Really?
trying it. That sauce was fire. The chicken was fire. Like all of it was great. I didn't eat much of I had a few fries. I didn't eat the Texas toast, which I was told is a big mistake, but I had an Orange Theory class in like an hour after it. So I was like, I
You're like,
felt,
I
I
can't
mean, as much as I love the
vomit.
food, that was not a thing to eat
Yeah.
before a strenuous workout.
Yeah.
Did not have my best workout that day. But anyway, it was amazing. And she worked the drive-through. She then took our order and, she did the whole credit card. Like that girl, she got in there and she did the damn work. Like
I love that
she
so much.
she was a pro and she is so gracious. She's such a kind person. She has such good energy. So
Yeah.
and it's an aligned partnership. That's what I love about the partnership she's doing. I think it really is genuinely things that she likes, and the whole world wants to work with her. So she gets to choose things that she likes that actually are congruent with who she is and the things that she likes. Like
Totally.
we'll talk about them later, but the Bic razors she recommended that the hair is not going to stay stuck in them. That's the most annoying thing to me about shaving
I know. I'm gonna buy.
They're in my bathroom. I love them. I love them forever.
Nice.
You know?
Oh my God. She's doing so well. Like everyone is picking her up for sponsorship deals. And if I were her, like she's doing, I would take every single one of them because this is the time to like make a fuck ton of money and then you can like chill out, figure out your life or whatever. But this is the time to just like capitalize on, I hate saying capitalize on like something that was really probably traumatic and awful, but like if any good can come out of this, I'm like, make all the money, get all the fame, and just like ride off into the sunset.
Listen, I met her a few times through mutual friends, and she's always been so nice to me, treated me like I was a part of the group. Lovely. I've met Rachel a few times through mutual friends.
Yeah.
She's like a less lovable Dory from Finding Nemo. Like
I know,
from 50
I know.
First Dates. I'm like, every time I've met her, it's like a vacuous look in her eyes, doesn't
I know.
remember me, struggles to say hello. Like just truly like two polar opposites, not to pit women against each other. And so, you know, to see, I think for all of us, it's very cathartic to see her having these successes because as women, we've all had a situation or our friend have had a situation. And it's cathartic as women to see somebody who's been so publicly wronged have these successes. And having met her a few times, she's such a genuinely lovely person. Nobody deserves it more than her. So anything that supports her, I will be going out to buy. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think brands know that.
Yeah, absolutely. She posted on her Instagram stories, like, it was kind of like a fake moving out post, but it was like for a finance company and people like there was like a little like kind of little spike of upset and I was like, who gives a fuck if she's doing like a Spawn Connie post? Like
that's what she not only is a social media personality, she is like an influencer. She's gonna be doing things. It's not malicious. She's playing into the narrative that
the game
else is benefiting off of, by the way. So many people are benefiting off of it. So you know, don't get mad. Get all his money. Or what did they say in First Wives Club? She's like,
oh yeah,
don't get mad. Get everything. That's what Ivanka Trump says.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, Ivanka. Like I'm.
That's so fucking funny. Did you watch the part 1 of the reunion this week?
I did. So I watched it. So last week we did a watch party at this bar called Junkyard Dog.
Yes.
And ABC came and filmed it. If you watch the it's called Impact and it's called Anatomy of a Sandoval. My really good friend Kiki Monique is a talking head. And my other really good friend Riley, who actually arranged the watch party. He's a podcast called Turtle Time Pod. Riley is also a talking head in it, and they're both so good in it. But you'll see footage of me at the bar, booing Tom and making all sorts of faces. So it's only for flashes of seconds, but, you know, really just watch it for those other people because they're great in it. But we did the watch party last week at that bar. So after Raising Cane's that evening, I went to, the bar again, and they are just wonderful. Really, really great spot. But they blare it over the TVs, no music. You can hear it perfectly loudly, but it's like I understand why people like sports and like watching sports.
Yes.
Because I just want to be in like a Taylor Swift stadium of Bravo fans watching this stuff.
Same.
So fun reacting with other people and just feeling that anger and like frustration with other fans.
I know. I am so jealous. I don't know if this would be possible, but I really want to do something like that in Victoria because it is so much fun to be in, like a theater or a bar or something like that. And yeah, I'm not a sports person, but I did watch a Survivor episode before a live podcast taping. And being with the group with like the vote read and like the challenges and like the oohs and ahs and clapping and boos and stuff like that, it is exhilarating. And I want that so bad.
It's like a mini BravoCon.
It is. I want a sports bar, but just no sports and just all reality TV.
Well, and it's one of those things too. I was telling my friend, I was like, one of my favorite parts about even having like a platform or like talking about this on social media is getting to meet other people that like it.
Yes.
and being able to just talk about this all the time, like it's the best part about it. And then when you go to events like that, you end up connecting with like other people that are into it, and it's just so fun to just talk shop about these shows, which I feel like we all kind of like before BravoCon and before like really like things started like picking up on social media with Bravo accounts and different things like that. We were all just kind of like watching it like from our
By
homes like alone,
yourself.
and it's like then
Yes.
you'd like have like a conversation where you'd like sheepishly like be like, so do you watch any reality TV? It's
Literally, I feel like the entry point was like Bachelor because that was like pretty like well
yes,
watched by,
yes, but and by men and
different
women.
generations and stuff. Yes,
Because
yeah,
like
like it
people would like
was,
have their husbands watch it. Like that was actually one of the shows I got into
yeah,
because of a job that I had. I watched The Bachelor probably back in like 2011, 2012 when I was starting out
yeah,
work in New York. Because everyone in my office watched it and I wanted to be able to be in on the convo and even watched
totally.
it. So Bachelor very much is one of those shows.
Yeah, that just like gets you into the conversation. But I totally agree. Like it's sometimes because people look at reality TV and celebrity gossip and stuff like as superficial. So it's like sometimes tough to bring it up to people, but it's the best when you can talk about this, share your passion, watch it together. Did you ever watch, this was also a Bravo show, The People's Couch?
I know what it is. I think that was one of those ones that I just missed.
Which is like fair because it's not even like a real TV show. It's if people don't know, it's people filmed in their home watching Bravo shows. And my mom and I love that. And I think it's because you like seeing people get excited and share their opinions about like the same things that you're talking about and thinking
It makes you
about.
think differently, and also you're like, wow, I'm not alone in like being on my couch outraged. But I think
I
there's got to
know.
be a bunch of other Bravo fans that would meet you in Victoria. Do you have any like friends in Victoria that are as into this as you are?
I do, and some like listeners and some patrons, like shout out to them. But yeah, I just, oh my God, it's such a, I feel like you need a lot of people to get that like bar, like that fun bar atmosphere. But we'll see. We'll
No,
see
but
down
you'd
the
be
line. But it would
surprised.
just be
People
so
are
fun.
craving because I think even the bar that we went to, I talked to the owner a bunch. He's like, anytime you guys want to do something Bravo, it was the best Wednesday night they've ever had. And the thing is,
Cute.
I think Bravo fans, a lot of us have the ability to spend a little bit of money. I mean, look at Bravo
Yep.
tickets. We want to be in community. A lot of us want to make friends that talk about the same thing. And so I think that you'd be pleasantly surprised that if you have, you know, 10 people that you can think of, they probably all have three friends that are into it.
You're right.
And,
You're so
because they
right.
weren't expecting that turnout last Wednesday. And then they were
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, that's a really good point. Well, maybe down the line we'll have something put
You
together.
should. You
Well,
should. It's good for the
I
soul.
know, I know. I know. I should what is your like biggest takeaway from part 1 of the reunion?
I mean, I don't think that I took anything new away from it that we didn't already know, but I think watching Rachel in the trailer was pretty infuriating, and I'm like,
It was pure
it
comedy.
was just like, oh,
Like
she's so annoying.
she's so annoying, but pure comedy that they would stick her in this trailer, show the outside, show like cut between her reactions. Like it was whoever thought of that is just so smart. Like that is just like the funniest thing that have done. I think the one reaction that I was like surprised to see from her is like when Sheena and Ariana were talking about, because they're like, oh, did you see this coming? And they're like, no, because in the months leading up to it, they were getting more intimate. They were like in a good spot, like blah, blah, blah. And Ariana's or Rachel's face was like,
Well,
like,
that
oh
was,
my
I don't know
God.
if you remember, she was like, Andy asked, like, why didn't you tell her sooner or something like that? And she's like, ooh, I
Yeah.
want to know this. And so I mean, Tom was playing both sides, of course. And I think the other thing, and I
Yeah.
can't remember if this is on Call Her Daddy or the reunion because everything's muddled in my little brain, but
Same.
like at one point, what was it that was asked? oh my God, why did I just lose my, Friday feels. Why did I just lose my train of thought? It'll come back to me. But yeah, there were a lot of shocking things, and Tom was definitely playing both sides of the coin. And this is what I was going to say. In therapy, when the therapist asked, is this a breakup? And Tom was the one to say no. It's like, dude, you had your out, and there was some part of you that wanted to hang on to this. Why he wanted to hang on to it when he, now is saying he was so unhappy and wanted to end things is beyond me. A part of me wonders if he wanted to figure out how to make her the villain in the situation before the breakup, or maybe he was just going to keep it going for as long as he could. I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
The only thing that I can think of is that celebs do better in pairs, like in terms of getting in deals and stuff like that. And like we saw with her drink, like her cocktail book and stuff like that, she was getting, deals outside of their relationship. And I wonder if he was just like trying to hang on to like his reputation as like after all the Dodie stuff, like just, in a solid relationship and kind of using their like combined power to do well, like career wise. Like that's the only thing that I could see him hanging on.
But in
the house, the dog.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, you could have gotten out of that relationship right there. That was your out. And conceivably, if Schwartz had kept his mouth shut,
I know.
Soft launched Raquel as your girlfriend next season, and people would have still been pissed. There would have been suspicions, but they could have gotten away with the perfect crime.
And I think that that's kind of, again, what they were trying to do, because he was like, I was going to tell her between rapping and the reunion. And it's like, yeah, because you probably wanted to break up with her, then have it blow over in the press, and then talk about it in the reunion and be like sad.
Mm-hmm.
But again, instead you like, I think they both thought they could game the system. Tom.
Big sad crying up against the sliding glass door or whatever it was in Lisa's. His crying was so annoying. And I mean, the other thing with the reunion was I think Lisa tries to take a neutral stance to a degree.
So annoying.
And actually, this is kind of interesting. I was my friend actually came, and she's a flight attendant, so she was just in for like 24 hours, and she's like, hey, I want to see Pump before it closes. I'm like, all right, cool, like let's go. And she's been a fan for longer than I have, so we did the rounds. I took her for a drink at each place, and we ended at Tom Tom. We get out of Tom Tom, and we're just standing outside for a minute, and we're about to actually go into Tom Tom, and I'm like, turn around, look who it is, and it's Tom Schwartz walking by. So then my friend, being the astute, follower of VPR, is like, that's Lisa's white Rolls Royce. And I was like, oh. And my friend who had ran into on the street sent me a picture of Ken. So I was like, oh, there's a little meeting happening here. And lo and behold, I was a grandma. I didn't want to do too much snooping. I was kind of tired by the end of our 3 drinks. I wanted to go home. But I got these guys' number, and I was like, you guys need to do the snooping. I'm like, all right, you're going to go into Pump. I think they might be in Pump. Text me what you see. And there was a meeting, pre-reunion, happening between Lisa, Ken, Schwartz, and Sandoval. And this is when Dumois said that Schwartz was in Australia, which again, no shade to Dumois, but it's like, maybe he was in Australia, but he was back in LA when I was hearing reports that he was in Australia. So either he lost that game show really quick, or, I don't know,
I know. I can't even believe that he's going to be on that. But yeah, that's absolutely wild. I have no doubts in my mind that Rachel as well, like, pre-gamed what they were going to say, and it just, like, flopped, because I don't think any of them were really smart. But I do feel really bad for Ariana that Lisa isn't taking, like, a stronger stance. Like, I don't think she needs to, like, fucking rename Tom Tom or anything like that. But it's, like, just don't do, like, future business with them, and, like, don't maintain a super close relationship with them moving forward.
For the women on the cast, you've done so much with these men.
I know, but she loves
something about her. Go figure out how you can help these women, and
totally,
you know what? Put your foot down and be angry, because this isn't a black or white situation. What he did was objectively wrong, and deserves the wrath from everyone.
It's weird. It's to a weird point how she loves the guys on this show who are like the biggest flops, like every single one of them, and is so passe towards the girls. Like it's so fucking weird. I don't know what it is, but
I'm Irish.
hate
I don't know if
it.
the English are the same way, but like the Irish, like they love the boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
do.
I feel like that's in a lot
They
of
just do.
culture.
And
Like,
I think it
yeah.
just happens in a lot of cultures. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
boys don't always deserve that love, and the boys aren't stupid, and the boys can take care of themselves. But I think that there's a lot of men that are so used to the women around them either excusing their behavior or taking up for them in some way, so they just become lazy and behave badly. No.
Incompetent. Yeah. Well, I even see this, and you'll see this as you continue your watch, but in the later seasons or like the middle seasons, we see Lisa's son Max and then her daughter Pandora, and the way that parents treat Max like a little baby. Like he gets his teeth knocked out, he has to have surgery, and then he goes to Hawaii with the cast. And Lisa and Ken every single day are calling him, being like, did you take your meds? You're not drinking, you're not kissing anyone, like you're not doing any of these things. And then Pandora, they're treating like a fucking employee. Like
Yeah.
it's so crazy. Like it's obviously just like a thing in their family, in their households.
Yeah. Yeah. You wonder where it comes from, but I think it's just like rooted probably in misogyny.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
I think the way that we perceive men versus women, and there's bad stuff for men too. Like I feel like men like, are told to have a stiff upper lip and not cry and things like that.
Totally.
But yeah, it goes both ways, but it's so strange that she's not coming down more on him. And I was glad Lala read her to filth because
I know.
perfect.
They're finally standing up to her because I don't think they see her, well, they don't need her as much as they did in the earlier seasons. And they're also like 40
No,
and
they're
stuff.
forces
Like
in
they're
their own right. They're no longer young kids actually kind of working at this restaurant. They all are their own
totally.
personal brands. And,
Yes.
they're all forces to be reckoned with. And Lisa, at one point held a lot more power than they did. But, Lisa was at that White House Correspondents' Dinner because of Ariana.
100%.
And she should be kissing Ariana's ass,
Yeah.
thanking her for giving her another season at a very big personal cost, showing up with such
Yeah.
grace and actually agreeing to film and not just running away from all this. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I mean, if you were in her shoes, like I thought about this. I was like, I wonder if she just wishes nobody knew who she was sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
As much as she's
I know.
like gaining monetary things from this, it's got to be really hard. And I really do wonder,
Absolutely.
if I were in that situation, I'd almost maybe just want to eat, pray, love and like go disappear for a bit.
Yeah, especially the way that she got on the show. Like she wasn't on the original cast. She was obviously working there and she was in some scenes on the periphery, but she really became a cast member because of Tom, I would say, like their relationship. And so I don't know if this was ever in the cards for her like long term to be a celebrity and stuff, but I get that as soon as something like this happens, like I know I would want to just like hide and
100%. And I think she could have been anything she wanted to be because she's a very smart girl,
super smart.
And this is just the way life unfolded for her. But I think if she wanted to be a doctor, she could probably be a freaking doctor. Like she really is
totally.
a very, very intelligent person.
Totally.
So, and not everyone has that, but she definitely 100%.
Yeah.
Could be doing
yeah,
so many
you can tell.
things.
Yeah, you can tell in her interviews and stuff she's like super articulate versus like some of the other members in the cast. I'm like,
you're just Tom, and that's why Tom is
I know
so hard because she saved his ass so many times and
absolutely
was the translator for his gibberish, and now he's left to his own devices, and Raquel's not going to help him at all. So the two of them together, oof.
It's just the plight of women, like women always having to like cover and save men for their like bad behaviors and like incompetency. It's so fucking sad.
I'm curious, do you think that Raquel and Tom are really done?
Okay, so this has been really weighing on my mind because I was like, if you guys broke up and this was all for fucking naught, basically, like I'm actually more pissed than I was before. Because I would still never justify it if it was like true love or you're like soulmate or whatever. It's still absolutely wrong, but I do soften a little bit. But I'm like, if you are already broken up, because he's in like fucking Texas. I think he's been to Texas twice in the like last couple weeks, and he's like seen out like doing karaoke, like out at bars, out with a girl, like.
That night with Lisa and Ken that he was at that meeting, the guys told me he was out at bars after in LA
Like,
showing his face.
Lay low.
In
Lay
the
low.
Team Ariana LGBTQIA plus 5 area. You were showing your face because, you know, basically, I don't know if you know the setup of like all the restaurants for anyone listening, but all the restaurants are in this area called Norma Triangle. And it's like, if you look at it on a map, it looks like a triangle. So it's kind of interesting because Lisa Vanderpump owns the three restaurants there, and then Lance Bass owns 2 gay nightclubs right across the street from each other. So you see Lance Bass down there every once in a while. There's always interesting faces. I've seen like Sam Smith, Frankie Grande. Like there's always people around, right? And it's awesome. Drag brunches, all this stuff. But yeah, you know, that is a group of people that is not on your side, bro. And,
no.
you know, what level of narcissism do you have to reach that you have no shame showing your face?
He has no shame. He's so shameless. Yeah,
But I think that's
the problem.
That's like, okay, buddy, like if you can deal with this negative attention and still show your face proudly out in a very, very like high visibility place, where not only you're around all the gay bars, you're around the restaurants that people are going into because they're fans of these shows. 100%. You're actually psychotic, because if I were in his shoes, I can guarantee you I'd be hiding under a fucking rock, probably in a deep therapy situation to figure out why my life had gone this way and I'd done this.
Yeah, like I'm moving to Wisconsin. I'm going into witness protection.
Literally. Yeah. I would be like, I never want to do TV again.
100%. That's why when he cries and stuff, I'm like, do you feel bad? Probably, because your life blew up. Like, you don't feel bad for what you did.
No.
But I'm like, it's also fake, because I know as soon as this wraps, you're going out to the bar. Like, it's so fucking transparent. But do you think that they're together?
Well, I was listening to a podcast, and it was like, basically, apparently, I guess, Raquel sent a postcard with lightning bolts on it to the house.
Yes,
it was Kristen Doute's podcast.
Mail. Yeah.
And so if she's still sending mail with lightning bolts on it, it's like, what's really going on here? You know?
Yeah.
Why is she still reaching out? Because if I were done, and if somebody had, you know, been the conspirator with me and blowing up my life so badly, and I was now genuinely in therapy working through that, I would probably come to the conclusion that person was a really bad person to have in my life, and I needed to go no contact and get my shit right and really, really just repent for the horrible shit that I'd done and figure out a way that I could actually genuinely apologize to Ariana, whether or not she would be willing to receive that apology, which is her decision. And ultimately, if she wants to be no contact and never speak to either of these people ever again, I don't blame her. I totally understand that. I think that's what she should do if that's what she wants to do. But to be sending letters to me is like a little fishy, but then he's out there with the other girl, but we know that he does that. So
I know
it's confusing as followers. And then they released that very timely statement that they were broken up day of the reunion, probably hoping to, you know, throw a little, you know,
win on their side.
The day of. And it's like, we're smarter than that, okay? And we're kind of pissed now because this was all for you guys to, you know, break up and also destroy this poor, lovely person who trusted in both of you, took Raquel under your wing. Oh my God, like it's maddening. It's maddening.
Totally. Yeah, it would be so frustrating. And I don't know if we'll find out for a really long time, because like Raquel has gone fully like MIA, and I don't believe anything Tom says. So I think just like truth and time will tell all.
100%.
Like Justin Bobby
and I
would
think,
say.
you know, I thought a lot about Raquel and how a woman could do this to another woman that was her friend, because I just like I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I was thinking about like her being a beauty pageant and being trained for all these years to compete with other women for a prize. And
yeah, and to seek external validation, especially from men. Like, I was thinking the exact same things. Like, it's definitely the recipe to become a person like that would do that. Like, and just having fake superficial relationships.
and deep insecurity. I mean, you have to be deeply
Deep
insecure and
insecurity.
lost and not. I did agree 100% with what Ariana said, which is she was looking for essentially her person with
Yes,
men. And you do see those
100%.
people that are immature that get into relationships where they really do take on all their partner's qualities and become way too enmeshed and codependent. And there's just so many different things at play where I genuinely hope for that, for her sake, she gets the help that she needs and takes a really hard look at what she wants from her life and decides whether or not even being on TV is a good choice for her. It probably would be
100%.
entertaining for us, but it probably isn't a good choice for her.
I know.
Probably
If
leave
we actually
LA.
care about the well-being of these people, like they should
Yeah.
honestly, I think that honestly they should end Vanderpump Rules and then just do a spin-off of like even like the girls opening up something about her, like something like that. I think obviously I want to see the drama as much as everybody else, but like in terms of like all of their well-being, I feel like they should just maybe move to like a spin-off, and we don't need Lisa and fucking Ken
No, because if we
anymore.
had all
And
them, listen, they meet up at the restaurant a lot, but I think if we had them, oh, okay, let's see Ariana go to Raising Cane's. Let's see her doing these
yes.
things. Let's see her with the guy in New York. Let's see her, being single and figuring things out. Let's see Lala and her motherhood journey and, trying to
Yeah.
have another
And
baby.
Sheena and
And
Katie.
let's hear
Yeah.
more about what's going on with Randall if she's legally able to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see the
Yeah.
kids play together. All these different things. We don't need Lisa, but I think Lisa is hard pressed to stay on the show because I think Lisa likes being on TV and I think she likes
Yeah.
having her name attached to something. Like I'm sure when the joke was made at the White House Correspondents' Dinner saying Vanderpump Rules out loud, she's like, "Oh my gosh, Vanderpump Rules
Oh,
is being said in front of the president right now." I mean,
of
that's what I would
course. Like
even.
I would be too.
Who
Yeah,
wouldn't?
I would be
Who
too.
wouldn't? I
Yeah,
mean,
of
that's crazy,
course.
but it really is you know, it's at such a pinnacle right now, and I'm interested to see where it will go. What do you think? Do you think they have one more season, or do you think it's going to go to spinoffs?
I just don't know how they would if Ariana, and like again, this is totally her right, and I would say the same thing too, but doesn't want to film with any like both the Toms and anyone associated with Tom Sandoval or Raquel. So
Do you think Lisa's
like
being neutral in hopes that she'll be the one person that will film with Tom?
literally, but then it happens where it's like The Hills. Did you watch The
I
Hills?
did. I haven't rewatched it in years.
Okay, well, like the last season or two, no one wanted to film with Heidi and Spencer, so they filmed all their scenes together or with this fucking little kid Enzo.
Yeah.
And then, like in Selling Sunset, no one wanted to film with Christine, so then they hired on Chelsea to have conversations with her, and like it just doesn't work.
It
So I'm
becomes
like,
kind of disjointed, and then the only thing
so
production can hope for
disjointed.
is there's a run-in because that's what would be really
Exactly.
interesting, but not really fair to Ariana.
Ariana. So I think they should just scrap it and season like the 10 seasons and then do a spin-off with the women.
You'd be
Like,
ending on quite a high, even though it's
yeah.
a low.
And
I
you
mean, it
would,
really is sad. It really
it is a
did
low
make me
if we
so
really
sad
think
when
about it.
she was talking to Tom and, all the things she was saying in that last conversation we saw filmed. Like, I would have changed whatever, we've
I
all
know.
been there and it just
Yeah.
broke my heart for her because it was so raw and it felt like seeing your
Real.
best friend like go through like just a horrible moment. Like it really like I genuinely was so sad in that moment when I watched that.
Me
It
too.
was so hard to watch, really, truly.
Ugh, I know. It was brutal. Okay. Let's shift gears to Taylor Swift. Another girl experiencing a bad breakup, I think.
Oh,
Last night she dropped 3 new songs. Karma featuring Ice Spice, Snow on the Beach featuring more Lana Del Rey, and then Hits Different. Have you listened to the
I have
songs?
not had the chance, and I'm very, very excited to do that this evening. But I've read up about them. How are they?
Honestly, like kind of whenever there's new Taylor songs, like I'm very, very excited. This was like I think very like meh.
Yeah.
Like sure, I'll add them to my playlist, like Taylor playlist, and like move on. But I'm not like, I don't know.
You
I
didn't
listened
say
to them
like that
once
was
and
a
then I'm with
bop. I
them.
need to like I'm gonna blast that in my car like 20 times in a row. Yeah.
Exactly. Like when I heard like I don't know, fucking Lavender Haze or anything, where I was like,
No, because
I
I
have
get into
listened
these
to it
things
now
where like
300
especially with
times.
midnights, there'd be like one song I get stuck on and then I'd listen to it on repeat. Like at one point it was Karma, and at one point it was
Yeah.
Midnight Rain, and at one point it was
Yeah.
Jeweled, and like I've cycled through and like Bigger Than the Whole Sky, like I like all these
Yep.
different songs that would get stuck on and just only want to listen to that like 7 times in a row. Um, and you weren't feeling that way.
I wasn't like Hit's different since there was like the viral clip on TikTok of like the, a few seconds of it or whatever. I feel like that's the one that I will probably play more. But like Snow on the Beach featuring Morlana, I think a lot of people really liked it. I'm like, it makes sense for them to release this. She's obviously listening to like fan feedback, but I don't think their voices mesh really well
Yeah.
together. So I actually kind of liked how Lana was doing more of just like the melodies or whatever. And then the Karma featuring Ice Spice, I think it was good, but I don't like need this verse
Mhm.
in this
Was it just
song.
a verse
So
or like was it a lot of rapping or because she's a rapper, right?
yeah, she's a rapper. It's like throughout, like there's some parts like kind of throughout the whole song, but mainly she takes out the like Spider Boy King of Thieves uh section, and then Ice Spice has like a verse there. Um a lot of people are accusing her of using Ice Spice to cover up for her bad behavior dating Matty Healy. Do you think there's any like truth to that?
So the whole Matty Healy of it all has been such a moment of cognitive dissonance for me because I have my Aries
Dude,
ticket.
same.
I love Taylor. I love her music. I listen to her music often. Means a lot to me. I feel like I've grown up with her,
Yes.
similar ages and everything. Um, so I know that she presented Ice Spice with an award. So they met I believe,
Prior.
before the breakup, where
Yeah.
they could have conceivably connected. Let's collab. I want to put you on this thing. But then juxtaposed to her dating somebody who is just so truly awful,
Vile.
vile, which is the worst thing that could ever happen to all of us Swifties ever,
Hmm.
who has made horrible remarks about Ice Spice specifically, not just that he made
Specifically.
horrible remarks about a POC or someone that was like, it was this specific person. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. A part of
I
me
don't
would
know
think that she would
either.
think that the way this is way too pointed, but so I wouldn't have done something like that. I felt like maybe it already had to be in the works and it just was a horrible coincidence personally, because it'd be kind of a dumb move to be like, hey, the guy I'm dating did this really, really shitty thing to you that I'm sure you've heard about, and Spotify literally removed it, and Apple literally removed it from their podcasts. Do you want to be on a verse in Karma? Like to me, that wouldn't make sense, but I just don't know. I feel like I'm really thrown off by this. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I feel the same. Cognitive dissonance is real. I definitely feel like I'm that girl with the racist boyfriend that's like doesn't break up with him.
Yep.
Like I feel like that with Taylor Swift, that I should break up with her, and I like just
Well,
seemingly
that's literally who
can't.
she is right now, you know? And it's one
Yeah,
of those things
yeah.
where, he's British. I think he's love bombing her. If I were to tell you what I think is going on, just based on his
True though.
personality, the porn he says he watches, I mean,
Mhm.
that's scary if I knew a guy that I was seeing wanted to watch that kind of content, listen, men watch,
Mhm.
people watch porn, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
just a very degrading towards POC type of
Yeah.
content that he's watching. And he
Yeah.
comes out and says all these degrading things towards POC. He's done the Nazi salute. He's done all these horrible things, right? So, um, how she's with him is beyond me. The only thing that I can come up with is that she is being love bombed and he's going to all these shows and he even wore that shirt that said the band, and that he is an extremely manipulative person and has somehow found a way to reason with her regarding these things. Because one of my followers reached out to me and like I posted something about the people in the Philippines that did the big party for Taylor Swift. There was all the viral content around that, and I love that. I was like, she needs to go to the Philippines. These people deserve like a Taylor Swift Eras tour.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, oh, they would just turn out. But you know, somebody wrote me about Matt Healy, and I was like, listen, I was like, it bothers me too, and it's a really tough spot to be in as a Taylor fan because it goes against everything I believe in, and goes against everything she says she believes in.
Yeah.
And so it's a really tough spot, and it's a really shitty move of her. But all I can think is that she was bummed out about the breakup. Somebody swooped in, swept her off her feet, is maybe potentially like love bombing her and showing up at all these shows and giving her all this adoration and attention. And Taylor's having her own moment of cognitive dissonance where maybe he's gaslighting her into thinking that things were blown out of proportion. But you'd have to be blind to not see what's out there. And if somebody I was dating had even one of those things out there, I wouldn't be dating them.
100%. Because there's two things that this flags for me. If she's releasing Snow on the Beach featuring Morlana, she reads every little piece of like gossip and commentary about her online, because fans were saying, oh my God, you can't hear like Lana. There was that whole like trend on TikTok where like they're recording and she, cuts her off and stuff. So I'm like, you read everything. So you obviously
TikToks
see
all the time. Whether it's her or her team, there are people that are gathering this information. They probably
and
have
giving it to her.
Social like tools that also are listening tools to gather.
Yes.
She doesn't miss a damn thing.
She doesn't miss a damn thing. So I'm like, she knows. But then I also think about, I do believe the theory that her and Joe broke up in the fall. Midnights is a breakup album, because everyone's like, well, how could she collab with Ice Spice so quickly? I'm like, I don't think this actually happened within the last like 4 weeks or whatever. I actually think this happened way before. And so she's had like, like 6 months or whatever to plan this collab. So I don't know. Maybe it's coincidental. Maybe it's a cover up. I have no idea.
No, it's really confusing as a viewer, and I don't think we'll ever really know.
Before we move on to Britney Spears, Taylor's releasing a new song, You're Losing Me, which again, I very much feel like is about the Joe breakup. I don't know. I feel like this is a actual accurate conspiracy theory, but she released Midnights. And if you look at her like clock, like all the albums in the clock, she released Midnights and then 3 a.m. and then Till Dawn, which is 6 a.m. So people are thinking that there's going to be another version of Midnights, this fourth one that will be the 9 on the clock. Do you think more songs are coming?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, because I feel like Taylor is just churning and burning through so many songs right now.
I know. I don't know how she does it, because I'm like, there's still such like of high quality songs. I don't know how she does it.
No, I know. But when you think about it, she's re-recording all these old albums. Yeah. Putting out secondary tracks to these other songs. Like, she is just churning and burning, and I think she's more visible than ever and making so much money. I do worry that her association with Matt Healy is going to be a big problem for her, though.
Yeah, I definitely see like rep era possibly coming, like the overexposure and then her association with like bad people.
And she's
like
not even hiding it. Like, 'cause we know Taylor can be private when she wants to be.
That's the thing. I'm like, you could so easily hide this. Not that it makes it any better, but like, fuck.
It's just weird to me, because part of me is like, does she want to win the breakup?
Well, apparently, again, this is a conspiracy theory that Joe's favorite band is the 1975. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to make him jealous. Who knows?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, it's another British guy. It's this like rocker.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you have your pick. So
have literally any man.
Literally anyone would date you. You look like a fucking Disney princess. Yeah. And you're like rich and talented. Like, pick somebody else. All right?
I know.
Not all of us have like as many options as you do, Taylor, but like you could have like a million guys lined up just to date you, and you choose this one.
100%. It's baffling.
100%.
Okay, let's talk about Britney Spears. She posted on Instagram yesterday that she had coffee with her mom, which over the last couple months since her conservatorship has ended, she's talked extensively about how her immediate family, her sister, and her parents were, you know, the driving forces of this conservatorship. And 20 hours ago, she posted, "My sweet mama showed up at my door yesterday after 3 years. It's been such a long time. With family, there's always things that need to be worked out, but time heals all wounds. And after being able to communicate what I've held in for an extremely long time, I feel so blessed we were able to try to make things right. I love you so much. Psst, I'm so blessed we can have coffee together after 14 years. Let's go shopping afterwards." What do you think about this new revelation?
So I'm glad that she's mending fences with her family because I feel like a lot of them were kind of lumped in with the conservatorship.
Right.
I do think a lot of them were complicit. So I just hope Brittany stays safe and sane and happy and that, you know, it all works out for her. I mean, whatever's best for Brittany is fine with me, you know?
Totally. And like she is the, like, she's the judge of character. She knows her mom and stuff like that. So it's hard to even form an opinion on the outside. But I could very much see, because I thought, like, she did say her mom was like, came up with the idea, but her dad was like the one that put it into action. But I feel like the dad is the evil one in the family.
No, 100%. The dad was the puppet master. I feel like Lou Taylor, so Lou Taylor, who got her into the conservatorship, who owns TriStar, who manages a bunch of celebrities. She works with Lady Gaga. She works with the Kardashians. She actually tried to get Lindsay Lohan into a conservatorship when she was going through her rough time. Same with Amanda Bynes. And so she has figured out a way to get these stars that are not doing well into conservatorships where I do believe there's been an abuse of their earnings as a direct result.
100%. And I think, like, you know, you also think of the power where it's like someone in the industry who's worked in the industry for a long time approaching someone's mom who, like, I don't know how much she was a part of like management or like decisions or anything, but like I know her dad was like a manager, and I feel like they could also, you know, this is what's right for Brittany, this is what's best for her, like and kind of like brainwash them into thinking that this was a good idea.
No, 100%, 100%. And it seems like he was a very controlling person and just not a good guy. So you just never know what's going on behind the scenes, which is why, like, as mad as I was at Jamie Lynn and the mom, if Brittany, and I worry about Brittany, if she's able to see things clearly. I can't imagine becoming a pop star at 17, the biggest star in the world. You know, I think Brittany has a lot of trauma probably and things that she's gone through. And I just hope that whoever permeates her inner circle has good intentions, because we've seen what happens, you know, when they don't. And Brittany, I think, struggles with mental health issues and different things like that, but she never needed to be under that conservatorship. And, you know,
totally,
net worth didn't make sense. So,
yeah,
you know, it's just, there's so many insidious things that went around that woman, and they were working her like a workhorse. And as a mother, I mean, I just wish, and you just never know what the situation was, but I wish she had stepped up and stopped some of that.
100%.
I mean, my mom would never let that happen to me.
I know, which is really sad. But I do, like, family's so important, even though, you know, family looks different for everybody. But seeing this like positive post and like talking about how she's been able to communicate, you know, how she was hurt over the past 13 years and stuff like that, like, really, I don't know, made me hopeful. But I don't want to be like dumb hopeful, like too optimistic and something bad is happening or something like that. Yeah. But I don't know, it was hopeful nonetheless.
No, I agree completely. And I think that, you know, hopefully Sam is a good guy that's around her. I just hope she has people around her that are going to have her best interest when these other people do try to re-enter her life. It's always good to see a family reunite. But then again, it's you remember the past and you think, well, why didn't she do more to stop this? You know?
Yeah, I know.
And that's the hard part.
I know. And like, I don't even know if you can heal from that, but it seems like maybe if I don't know, they're both in therapy and set really good boundaries, maybe that's possible. I have no idea.
No, 100%. And I mean, maybe she feels remorseful and like wants to express some of that remorse. Maybe the legal aspect of it all made her, you know, unable to actually step in and make a change. But I mean, the things that were going on with Britney are just so unforgivable. And I mean, if it were her dad, I'd be singing a different tune. Her mom, like, I just don't know. I don't know how much control she had, what she might have been trying to do behind the scenes, what, you know, remorse she has for what went down.
Yep.
So you hate to see families get broken apart, but sometimes people have shitty families.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, clearly. Okay, let's move on to Pettyweight Champion of the Week. This is the part of the show where Lauren's going to nominate a Pettyweight Champion of the Week, someone in the media who did something petty and was iconic. Who are you nominating this week?
So this week, I'm nominating Bic Razors for their collaboration with none other than my queen, icon and legend, Ariana Madix. They put out an advertisement that said, so I have the razors. They're great. They don't.
I know. I need to buy these.
Just shake it out. No hair clogged in them. I hate that with razors. And they said for men and women, except for what's his name. And we all know they're throwing shade at Tom. So thank you, Bic Razors, for giving me my favorite petty moment of the week.
It's so iconic. Yeah, they are the rinseless, easy rinse.
Easy rinse, I believe.
Anti-cloggy. Yeah, easy rinse, anti-clogging, disposable razors. Feel free to sponsor the podcast.
Yes, 10 out of 10 recommend. Listen,
Yeah,
Torry and I will do a partnership too. I'm a new fan, thanks to Ariana. So we'll post on that.
Literally. But okay, I'm definitely going to try these out. I feel like I would try anything Ariana is selling me nowadays. But this is actually maybe a solution to a problem I actually have. So thanks, Ariana. And thanks, Bic. I think it's good to it's smart for them to capitalize on the moment. But this is like corporate social media that I like, where I'm like, oh, this is funny. This is like, I don't know, like a moment. I hate when they're like fighting in the replies on Twitter and stuff like that, like Wendy's and McDonald's. But I'm like, this is it done right.
Yeah, like whoever did that, give them a raise, give them a promotion.
Totally,
because they know what the people want.
Totally. And I'm gonna nominate James Charles. It was recently his birthday, and I fucking hate him, but I cannot stop following him. And I literally. And I don't even follow any of his accounts. They just pop up on my For You page every once in a while. Bring me a little
whatever it is, that's
Sylvie. I just know it all, and I hate that I do. But it was his birthday, and he got a cake that said, "And you did it at my birthday dinner," which is from the iconic Bye Sister video that Tati Westbrook made in James's very first and biggest cancellation.
Sisters.
Hi, sisters.
I cannot. Did you ever see the video that somebody made that was pretending to be what was it? Jeffree Star and James Charles scolding Michaela Nagara.
Yes, yeah.
Hi, sisters. He's like, hi, sisters.
And she's like, Kim Kardashian.
Oh my God. The pets reacting to the Kim Kardashian. Do you think her accent's real, or do you think she puts it on?
I think it's fake.
Everyone comments I live 3 doors down and nobody talks like that here.
Yeah. This is the only anecdotal evidence that I have. I have 3 friends from Boston that have been on this podcast many times: Lisa, Matty, and Nick. And I have been to Boston once, and I met, I think, one person that talked like that. I definitely think it is an accent in that area, but I don't think it's everyone she's talks like
suburbs.
that.
I feel like she's not even in the inner city area where people tend to have thicker accents.
It's fake. It's 100% fake. But I get it though. You have to stand out, and it's a great way to capture people in the first 5 seconds of your video is to have a crazy accent. So
it worked well for her. I remember the first time.
Literally though.
What?
Yeah,
I was watching to listen to her accent.
Yeah, and I think people play up their accent, or
imagine if started talking with a British accent. Although I do an Australian accent, nar. It's when I get nervous, I'm oh nar. You know, it's like a comfort thing. I do accents all the time, so I kind of
literally same. Literally
oh,
same. Yeah. So, but like, I don't know. I think she's playing it up, but whatever. Okay, let's finally wrap up with This Week in Petty, where Lauren is going to share a story about something that happened in real life that she's petty about. What are you petty about this week?
Okay.
Oh, you've been reflecting. This is... Yeah,
I did reflect because I was like, I'm not that petty of a person. I'm really not. Because I'm someone that like, I don't do anything petty because I just like believe in karma is my boyfriend. And so I just genuinely like don't do petty things typically because I just feel like the universe does petty things for me if like I feel the need to be petty because somebody did something fucked up. So the pettiest thing that I've done in recent years, this was like probably 3 years ago, back when the US elections were happening. I, you know, am very proudly liberal and, you know, but I grew up in like literally 14 miles north of New York City, but like the town where I grew up runs red. Like it's the only thing that lights up red during the election. Everything else is blue.
Wild.
Very bizarre. So anyway, I found out that 2 of my ex-boyfriends were Trump supporters and I signed them up for every possible Biden text and email.
Yeah.
And that's the pettiest thing I've done. It's kind of like the key thing where people buy the random keys and leave the people's numbers on it and leave the keys everywhere.
Yeah,
you know, that was like my version of that. And I didn't even feel bad towards my exes. I was just mad that they were like voting that way. And so I was like, well, you're going to be hearing from Joe Biden for the next while.
That's so funny. Yeah, some people have done the key thing on this podcast and you know, confessed, but I think there's literally nothing better than like donating to the opposite political party, like when you're trying to get back at somebody.
Hey, it's your girl Kamala Harris. You want to vote? You want to send us money? Like I get them all the time too because you know I send them. And I did get some Trump texts, so I'm wondering if like somebody on and like maybe like got me back because I did tell the story a few times, and now I'll find out if any of my exes are stalking me because you know. They'll know that I did that, and now it's been so much time, and I don't give a shit. So sorry.
That's so funny. I love that. Yeah, I know. I loved reading all of the like stories or tweets or TikToks or whatever about when like people doing that for Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. Like nothing's better, honestly. But an annoying email or text message really hits different.
Like, it does, and it's just subtle pettiness where I'm like, I don't really feel bad, but I just got a little chuckle out of it, and you know, we all need a good laugh sometimes, you know.
Absolutely, I love that.
It's just, you know, you gotta be petty once every few years.
I know, but this is like petty with a purpose. Like you, like
I do. Like, I only do like socially impactful pettiness. Like if I'm gonna be petty, I'm gonna send you a message from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris.
I love that. That's so funny. Oh my God. I love it. Okay. This was so much fun. Where can the listeners find you and anything else you want to plug?
So I am at the Zen Blonde on both TikTok and Instagram. And I am releasing a podcast for Pride Month with my best friend, John Joseph. And it's called Girl the Gay and the Slay. We have a TikTok and an Instagram. And so look out for that. Our first guest is going to be bananas. And it's going to be very, very timely for Pride Month. So buckle up, people, because it's going to be wild. And Torry, thank you so much for having me. Let's go back to the box soon. Come to LA. Let's get crazy together. We're going to be Shots superstars again together very soon. And everyone go on Torry's Patreon because trust me, this needed to be, the real fact of that night needed to be behind a paywall. But I'm telling you, it'll be worth paying for her Patreon just to hear what unfolded that night, because I promise you it will sound like it's made up. It was the craziest night of my life.
I know, literally.
And with the best people, so it was just, I will never forget it. I had so much fun.
Same. For weeks, like I still reference that night and people are like, shut the fuck up. We get it. You went to New York.
We all became blood sisters. We all became related that night because we all made like a blood oath just by walking in there. And it was great.
The only time I separated from Lauren was when Emily and I went and got hot dogs on the way
Which is
home.
also iconic. And you know what? I went back and I got halal with my cousin, and I have a photo and we both look so drunk in it. And we were just like, halal. I was like, oh, we got halal last night. And the next morning I was like, I need a bagel. I don't Gatorade. Somebody save me. I'm like, this is why I can't live in New York. I go too wild.
I literally, like, I just cannot handle it. Yeah, Emily the next day was like, would it be crazy if I ordered flan? Because we were ordering Mexican for lunch. And I was like, dude, after
you saw people literally doing unspeakable things on stage. I had a teeny glass in my hand and somebody was shooting something about out of their, you know what, to try to get it. Like, everyone go under her Patreon. You know what? Like, we can't even, it has to be behind a paywall, but
it's NSFW. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I can't wait for the girl, the gay, and the slay. That's going to be so much fun. And thanks again for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I just love you so much. And I'm so glad we got to reconnect. Come visit me in LA.
I'm going to come visit me in Canada.
I will. I'm ready to get my Nature Victoria girly on.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Lauren for joining me on today's episode. If you'd like more content, you can join Patreon, patreon.com/RTBP podcast, or follow along, see all my friendship bracelets in the flesh on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. at RTBP podcast. I hope you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.